Okay, folks, another Phatkat Collections live feed. Today, just doing a kind of a show and tell. Going to give it a few minutes here, see if we get anybody up in the chat. And I'm just going to be showcasing a bunch of Invicta watches today. Let me crack on let me just keep it real classy. Like, I'm going to crack out, which I rarely do. If you guys have been watching me for a while, I don't really do the whole, let me appease all the sensitive people out there, but we're going to do the black glove treatment on these. So what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of bounce around quite a bit. I have, I'm going to take requests. If I have some of these Invicta watches that you guys request, I will definitely give you guys a little show and tell. But today, just starting off with a few, I just pulled out my safe real quick here. And we'll see who we get in the chat. I'm here to answer any kind of questions about the brand and also to defend the brand. Part of the problem with the YouTube algorithm, and I see it as a problem because a lot of the folks who look for Invicta watches, people who are like myself, really into the brand, and you guys know I got 400 plus watches in my collection. I like all brands, but I'm not a luxury watch guy, right? I can't rationalize spending that kind of money on something that just doesn't really do anything for me, right? I can get the same look, and I'm not picking on any specific brand, but I can get the same look of a Submariner for $100. Is a Submariner more refined? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the $100 watch still looks fantastic, gives me the look I want. It tells time reasonably accurate. And so it's just really a waste of money, in my opinion, to spend money on luxury brands. But always buy what you like, buy what makes you happy. But today we are talking Invicta. And the problem with YouTube is that, I don't know how the algorithm works as long as I've been doing this. I feel like a watch channel will do better if you specialize in one thing. So if you started an Invicta only watch channel, YouTube will know exactly who to recommend those videos to. For me, I like to review all products. So it does hurt the channel. It does help people finding these videos. But I have so many Invicta watches in my lineup, and I just want to share, as many as I can today with you folks. It's a fantastic brand. It gives you a lot of bang for your buck. And unfortunately, getting back to that YouTube thing I was talking about earlier, when you go just YouTube, Invicta watch review, a couple of my videos show up, but you don't get the bulk of the videos, right? You really have to go to my playlist and actually actively search for Phatkat Invicta to find that. Unless you've discovered this channel, you're not really you're gonna see a lot of the guys who bash the brand, even guys who necessarily don't bash the brand, guys who I like to watch, don't always give the brand the credit it deserves. I also want to touch base today on Invicta, I guess, not being on Shop HQ anymore, and how even the Invicta fanboys, and I joke when I say that, always buy what you like, wear what makes you happy. But, it's just amazing. People are like, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's like, who gives a shit? Like, the brand is great. They're doing good things. Hopefully the brand continues to grow, and hope the brand continues to make amazing creations. And they don't kind of lose touch of, I don't know, what really got me into the brand was big, bold, awesome timepieces of great quality. Now, there are many different levels of Invicta quality. I said it many times. Just starting off with the 4 that I have here, this is not the quality you get with every single Invicta. If you go getting a $60 Pro Diver, it's nice, don't get me wrong. You get a quartz version, but it's not on par with these. These are, and I don't just mean because of the amount of steel and stainless and how big they are and the weight. I mean, just there is a noticeable difference when you pick up certain Invicta watches versus what I consider reserve level. Now, this one may not be considered reserve by Invicta's definition, but by my quality standard, by my comparison, it is. This is a reserve. This is a reserve. This is a reserve. But this one just isn't labeled, to the best of my knowledge, and I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure this is not branded as a reserve piece, but is exactly the same quality. So also there's a live chat. So if you guys have any questions, I'll stop while I'm showing these off, and I'll try to remember what movements these have. I'll give you guys the basics. But this is in hopes that people who are interested in the brand find this and don't see guys who are like that one dude who did the video about Invicta being a scam against poor people. Just what a snob, what a piece of shit, and it's okay to have your opinion, but I don't believe in pumping out false information out there. And that's what a lot of these guys do. Nothing wrong with saying this is an ugly watch, I'd never friggin' wear it. Nothing wrong with being like, oh, hell no, way too big. But, when you start to insult people and what they like, that's where I kind of draw the line. It's like me saying, if you wear a Rolex, you must you must have feel the need to show off, or maybe you got a little dick. Like, I'm not I don't believe any of that. So I'm not going to say any of that. And I don't feel like people who wear a certain brand watch, it makes them a bad person or stupid. It's just what they like. And if it's your money, and if you want to buy a $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 watch, who am I to tell you not to? My biggest gripe is that they state that those watches blow these watches out of the weight water. These are shitters, and those watches are high quality, and it's just not true. Granted, those watches are more refined. There's more quality control, absolutely. But anybody with a brain in their head who picks up these watches, if you could just get past the fact that you may not cosmetically like the look, anybody who picks them up is going to say, man, this is a really exceptional quality watch. And what's more impressive is the fact of what they cost. If you pick up a watch like this and I'm like, yeah, this is $5,000. Somebody's like, oh, wow, cool. But when I say, hey, this is, 150, I paid more than that for this one, but I've gotten these as low as 130. People are like, what? Are you kidding me? $130 for that? That's quite incredible. So let's kind of begin. Again, you guys ask questions if you want. Right here, starting off, we'll start off with this one here, the Sea Hunter. And this is what I refer to as the Sea Hunter 3. And that's because originally the Sea Hunter was, they had an original design which looked nothing like this. Then they came out with what I coined the Sea Hunter 2, which is the same watch minus the crown guard, and it had a rubber kind of bezel ring around it. When they came out with this, I think this kind of demolished all the other Sea Hunters. They just really knocked it out of the park. Hence the reason I think I have 4 of these. I have them in silver, gold, the iridescent color, and a white rubber strap version, blue and gunmetal. Very cool, great looking watch. This is one of these watches here that does not get a lot of wrist time. I really have to be in the mood to wear something quite this super gaudy, right? I mean, but I love it, man. It's just, I would never get rid of it, because I know if I did, I'd be one day I'd be like, oh, I feel like wearing that, And I feel like this watch, I like to kind of accessorize a little bit. I feel like this watch is great if you're wearing, some kind of similar colors. I don't always color coordinate what I'm wearing. Sometimes I just throw on a t-shirt and boots and jeans, right? And don't really think too much about it. But when you want to really show off, I mean, this is just a beast. We have 23 millimeters in thickness, a 50. So some of these are going to be referred to as a 56 or a 57, 60 millimeter, 63. These, I believe, are, if I remember correctly, 57 at the bezel, and then I think it's 63 or 70 to the crown guard. And it does, I hate when people say, oh, they wear larger. In a case like this, it does wear larger because you have such a huge crown guard on it. You have to kind of take that into consideration that it does add to the size of the watch, but it is a beast. And if you haven't checked out the Invicta brand and you like big, huge watches, or maybe maybe you're a guy who's worn some diesel watches. That's kind of where I started out. I love the big diesel watch, and then I discovered the Invicta Venom, and that was kind of early on, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago, 10 years ago. And when I got it, I just couldn't believe just how heavy it was, the kind of quality you get. I mean, people were talking about the bezel rotation. That's beautiful. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have watches that cost 2 G's, and that's a realistic 2G. I always kind of compare it to my Aqua Dive, because that watch you generally don't get for less than 1,800. And I don't see any quality differences other than the Aqua Dive using on a more higher end movement. They all tell time. This tells time better to quartz. So very cool watch. Now there is a couple different variations on the Sea Hunters. They cheapened them a little bit, and I don't mean in a bad way. This one does not have screw down crown and function pushers, whereas my other 2, the gold and silver version, do. Not a big deal to me because I'm not really much of a I don't dive at all, so I'm not really too concerned with the depth rating. It's more, honestly, a lot of the features you get in a watch are mainly for people just tell other watch guys, dude, it's good to 4,000 feet. It's nobody's going to dive, right? It's just kind of ridiculous. But, it's a fantastic piece, very cool. And the fact they changed that doesn't really bother me at all. Excellent looking watch. That is subjective. I'm going to pop over to, this is probably at one point my favorite Invicta model. This is the Grand Octane or Grand Arsenal, depending on when you actually bought this. This is done with that kind of baby blue mother of pearl face. Got the rose and silver. This watch is over, I don't know, 8 years old. Battery's dead in it. But very cool. After I discovered this watch, it was really, even though the Sea Hunter has a bigger wrist presence, this is just my favorite one by Invicta. For a long time, my taste kind of, like, my favorite Invicta has changed. And usually, like, what'll happen is I'll look at this, I'll be like, oh man, I love the Grand Octane. And then a week later, I'm like, I'll wear this, and I'm like, oh no, this is my favorite. It's really hard to choose a favorite. So it's nice to have a variety. That's the cool thing about affordable watches. You can just get a lot of variety. And again, those folks were like, those, when they say, some folks, and not just Invicta, but they'll say, oh, that watch is good for a couple months. Like, dude, these are over 10 years old. I wear the hell out of these. I wear them to work. You can see, like, the plating's held up great. There's some fine scratches in there, but you're going to get that on any watch. Folks talk about fit and finishing. I mean, that's a pretty tight bracelet. Just excellent quality across the board. This one does have screw-down crown and function pushers. Bezel rotation. I mean, I don't know what more you could possibly want. I've turned bezels on luxury brands before. It's slightly different, but not like where I can say, oh, one's better or another. If I didn't have any brands on these and I didn't know anything about any watch snobbery in the world, I'd just be like, man, I don't know. They all seem great. So very cool watch. I have many of these watches. I think I have 8. Let's go over to the same watch here. Got another one done in the gold and silver. And this is the thing with Invicta too. Invictas, depending on where you buy them, when you buy them, when they're on sale, this one here, at the time when I bought this watch, I definitely overpaid for what I, compared to what I paid for other Invicta Grand Octanes. When I was getting these, they didn't really have as many models. So when they came out with the Octane, like if they came out with the silver one, you're like, great. Then they came out with the, I don't know exactly when, like the gold and silver, the price was higher. So I paid like over $4 for this, which was a lot, absolutely. But I really wanted it. Moving forward, these are all the same watches. Like, just because one is $400 doesn't make it any better than the one that costs, $130. Sometimes you'll have a different movement in them, but, they're all quartz, at least the ones that I have. And, I just wanted it. That's really what it comes down to. They do the exhibition windows on these too, showing off the Ronda movement. I mean, it really is an incredible watch. Like, it's huge. This is about 63 millimeter, 58 the bezel, 63 the crown. I think the crown, yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it's a great looking piece. This is one of those watches I wish they made more of, and they made in a smaller version, just so you have the best, the best of both worlds. You want the big one, you can wear the big one. You want to kind of go to the little smaller, you can rock the smaller ones. And I go back and forth with watches, depending on my mood. Another amazing piece, and some of these are going to be hard to find. If you see this video and you're like, oh man, Phatkat, I gotta get that. That watch is amazing. Like, you may not be able to. I don't know if you guys, do we have audio? I'm going to drop a comment here. I don't think we have audio. That's why I'm not talking. In case we do have audio, I'm just not seeing any of this little microphone kind of jumping around. I may have to end this and go with, man, I don't know. Oh, it looks like my microphone's being used. Maybe it's just not registering on here. Kind of weird. Let me know if you guys can hear audio. If you can just drop me a comment, let me know. I don't want to go too far here if we're not going to have audio and you can't hear what I'm saying. I would have thought somebody would have said something by now, though. But I guess I can kind of pull this up on my phone and see if we have audio. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Brandon. I wasn't sure. Normally, I see kind of like the, I don't know, there's little marks on the live stream that show you like your audio, and it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. So good. I'm glad you could hear me. I didn't want to cut this out. We got 11 people in here. Pretty good. Invicta always seems to pull people in. So getting back to the watches, this is Subaqua Noma 5. I have 2 of these, I think. Yeah, two of these. This is great. Invicta actually won an award. I don't know which award, but the crown and function pushers on this is so badass. It's just like a butterfly tab that pops out. And then the function pushers, you just turn, you know, kind of common sense here, but they extend and retract. Pretty badass. I mean, that's a pretty awesome design. And they actually use these function pusher and crown on some of their Venom hybrids, which I'll show you guys in a little bit here. Awesome. I mean, awesome watch. The first one I got like this is all silver. I'll try to pull that out. This watch is, I don't know, 8-9 years old. Battery's dead, of course, but this one has a standard back, and the other version I have in silver is actually a COSC certified version, which is kind of odd. I kind of feel like it's playing with the you know how like watches will say Swiss made, you know, you guys have heard of that, right? It's just kind of a meaningless designation. COSC has to do with, you know, a certified chronometer rating. And I think really any quartz chronometer is more accurate than any automatic on Earth. But again, I'm not, you know, 100% on that, but it is COSC certified, which is pretty cool. This one is not, again, meaningless to me. I'm not a diver. I don't really care. But what's important is the design. Look at the quality. I mean, look at this. This watch, I mean, even though I've worn the hell out of this, it's hardly even marked up. I mean, awesome. I mean, I turned the bezel. I mean, I don't know if anybody really cares about this, but they all are great. I mean, I just don't see why anybody would be like, oh, man. You know, I get it if a watch is like sloppy, but I've never had an Invicta bezel on a reserve level piece be sloppy. I mean, they're just fantastic. I mean, I kind of feel like Invicta has kind of fallen off a little bit. Some of their newer designs just don't really call to me as much as they used to. But, you know, I'm sure they'll come out with something at some point that I just have to have. But I don't know, lately, these are the ones that I just absolutely love. This has got the retrograde movement where that hand actually goes all the way to Saturday and snaps back. Awesome. And I'm not really a blue and gold kind of guy, but this one I absolutely love. It's such a great piece. And these are hard to get. You're going to have a hard time getting a Subaqua Noma 5. Of all the Subaqua Nomas, the 5 is my favorite. I used to have the 3. I ended up selling it. The 5 is where it's at. Let me get a couple more. Kind of keep going here. All right, don't go anywhere. I'm back. Kind of dragging these out of the safe here. So hopefully this video gets some more views kind of on the rerun because, you know, it's important for people to see what you're getting. It really is just a great, very fun brand. All right, so let me hit you with another massive watch by Invicta, the Hydromax. And this one, I almost bought another one the other day. It was on sale for like $98. And if you guys don't know, I got the link in description of this video for Invicta stores. If you find value in this content, you do end up buying a watch from Invicta stores, please use my link. I am an affiliate. It does give me a little kickback, so I appreciate it. But they make this in gold with like kind of a baby blue face, and it was on sale for $98. One thing to be noted about the Hydromax is when you're shopping for these, they make 2 different variations, and sometimes you just can't tell by the pictures. Some of them do not have the raised crystal. They're just a flat crystal. And I think the whole like draw to this watch is the massive 29 millimeter thickness. It is just such a beast. Now, the bracelet on this, if we compare it to some of the other ones, it's they don't consider this reserve level either, but it's awfully close in my opinion. The only difference I see in the bracelet is just it's a little bit lighter, and it's only because it's a little bit thinner than the other bracelets, right? And so that doesn't mean it's not amazing. It's still great. I like that on this Hydromax. I don't know if the new ones have this. They have this diver extension. Very cool design. It does have on this and all these have a milled clasp as well. I'm not going to open this up because I have a hard time opening it with these stupid gloves on. But very cool. I like that. I wish Invicta did more of that. I mean, and this is not – I just think it's kind of cool because you can kind of – I don't know. Sometimes your body swells a little bit, and you can kind of adjust this based on – it's just like on-the-fly comfort, you know. Nice screw-on case back. I don't know what this symbol is. This is the Hydromax symbol. I read somewhere this represents death, but I'm not really sure what that is. It might just be nonsense on the internet, but it's a pretty cool Hydromax logo. What else? Helium release valve. Most of these have that. Some don't, but not really a big deal. But look at that crystal. I mean, it's so big. This is the thickest watch Invicta makes. 29 millimeters. I mean, it is just a beast, and 52 millimeter diameter. I like this watch. I just wish we would have got the black. I don't know, the gold on it. It's cool, which is weird for me because I'm definitely a gold guy. But I wish we would have got the black. And I may pick up the old gold and blue. But I don't know. You know, I have so many. It's hard to spend even $100 on a watch now. I just like, it's hard. You know, because I work with Nubeo. Got a little Nubeo on today. Check that out. It's hard to rationalize spending my own money. It's got to be something that really calls to me. So plus, you know, I don't know, like $100. I'm like, I need a food dehydrator. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll buy that instead. But anyway, let me just catch up on the comments. Adrian, what up, man? He said audio is good. Thank you, sir. Same thing goes for Hublot. Similar kind of comments by plenty of people because Nico Leonard doesn't like them. Yeah, man, it's amazing how a guy like that gets popularity. I just find them. Frankly, like I get people who come on my channel and they're like, "Oh, more of the watch, less of your face." But I don't do anything different than some of these channels that are just killing it with views. And I just feel like that nastiness appeals to people, and I'm just not gonna. It's just not my style, you know. But all right, so here's the Subaqua Noma 5, badass. You can see this is the COSC certified version. You got that skeletonized face, very cool, very subtle. Just another beast of a watch. And this one, they did an exhibition window with that furnace blue, as I call it. Kind of lattice work, as I call that. I don't know which movement this has in it. I forget. But very cool looking watch. Love the Noma 5. I haven't said that like 3 times already. And let me hit you with another. This is like the second model that I got after the Venom when I first started collecting Invictas. This one here is your Bolt Zeus. Awesome watch. I mean, I remember seeing this on the Home Shopping Network and being like, oh my God, dude, I got to have that. But the prices were, I mean, you can definitely get Invictas a lot cheaper now. And it is kind of hit or miss. You just kind of have to watch the sales. Sometimes you get an incredible deal through Invicta stores. Sometimes you'll overpay. This one, I think I paid just a little over, I think like $220 for it. I paid $3 for my silver one. And I will be honest with you, this one here, no, I'm sorry. This one's totally fine. This one's got like a brown mother of pearl face, although it's hard to see. Rose and yellow tone gold, 2 of my favorite colors in a watch. Now, my silver one, I admit it, the second hand complication here, the hand fell off. It's 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. You know, things happen. I wore the hell out of it. It is disappointing, but I'm not going to, you know, send it back to Invicta. And you know what? It's not really a big deal to me. I have so many other options, but I understand it. It would be a big deal if I only had that one watch, you know. But that's kind of the only other time I've had a bad experience with Invicta is that. And then, of course, the case back on my Grand Diver. Yeah, my Grand Diver came kind of defective and it fogged up in the shower. But other than that, I mean, because I have so many now and I'm not too critical about a scratch here and there, I generally will, you know, when I first started, I was like, oh man, they're dive watches, but I don't know, do I want to risk it, you know, because it's not you're not going to have the quality control of like an Ocean Eva or something like that, or even like a Rolex. But, you know, now I'll take him, I'll dunk him in the hot tub, I'll take him in the shower. And after I'm done doing that, I'm always like, oh, all right, that one passed the test, you know. But for the most part, you're going to have good luck with the brand. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I do want to touch base on something too. Like I saw a video the other day about, you know, Invicta and the Home Shopping Network and what's going to happen to the brand. Like nothing. You know, I am only going to assume on why Invicta is not going to be on like Shop HQ anymore. Is probably Shop HQ probably charges too much. I can tell you Shop HQ, in my opinion, is extremely cheap when it comes to their affiliates. They used to have a pretty decent affiliate program, and most of the time, about 5% is what you get from affiliates. Some pay more, some pay less, but generally 5 to 10 is what you get. And they knocked their affiliate program down to like 0.5%. And I was like, dude, at the time I'd referred thousands and thousands of dollars to them. And I said, listen, that's just not acceptable. Like, I'm not going to refer to your channel anymore. And they just wouldn't do anything about it. So, you know, that's mainly, in all honesty, after right around then, Invicta stores started selling direct. And that's where you still get the best deals. But Shop HQ does have some deals once in a while. Absolutely. No dissing them at all. But I can only assume maybe they weren't happy with the deal they were getting from Invicta. And that's kind of how it goes a lot of times. You know, a lot of brands will use the home shopping network to try to get exposure. And let's face it, they do sell watches. They reach millions of people. But once people love your brand, you don't need to do all that anymore. And that's kind of unfortunate for you know, hey, Shop HQ did it to influencers, and I guess I hope Invicta did it to them. But, you know, no matter what, the brand is still going to sell direct as far as I know, and you're still going to see them, you know, across websites. I know Joma Shop has some really good deals once in a while. You just got to be a smart shopper. Buy from where you can, you know, get the best price on these. All right, let me move on to another Grand Octane here. Here's another example of a Grand Octane that I got dirt cheap. This is beautiful, right? I mean, this is stunning. All mirror polished, yellow gold and silver. Love this piece. I wouldn't have got this one. Now, take a look. These are like the same watch, right? I think the movement's different. It might be the same too. I'm just not really sure. But $400, and this one I paid $130 for through Invicta stores. I mean, incredible price. I like this one better. I like the mirror polishing, but they're both cool. They're identical, but very cool, very flashy. And this is considered the Coalition Octane because it's got this sort of like, I don't know, this T kind of pattern across the face. That's it. The only and a little bit of branding on it. Invicta Coalition Forces. That's the only thing that makes it a coalition. So that's what sometimes Invicta will kind of try to rebrand stuff and just call it something different. It's the same watch, right? But very cool watch, man. I love the white. I call these like pillars. I don't know what you call them. These like little decorative hex kind of bolts here at the rubber around them. I like the white on that as opposed to the black. Very cool. But I mean, don't get me wrong, the black's cool too. I mean, it's not. They're both gorgeous watches. All right, another one before I grab a few more, and of course, the all silver. You can't go wrong with this one here. Retrograde day of the week. This one I did pay about $350 early on. I got this probably back in like 2012, 2013. Friggin' badass. These are hard to come by, folks. These are, I mean, they just don't make them anymore. You can find them on eBay, of course, but they actually made some of these with black spinel, and I regret not getting one. Let me catch up on the comments here before I grab a few more watches. Wolfgang, what up, man? He said, I love my Invictus. I have 6 of them. Very cool. Jay Steele said, what's going on, man? What is up? Shaking up the watch snobs. Hell yeah. You know, and I joke about it. You know, when you name a video, you're just trying to appease a lot of people, and you're trying to get people to watch naturally. But you know, there is so much snobbery on there. It's all over YouTube. But I just wish the algorithm on YouTube would start recommending guys who really like the brand to guys who are searching for the brand. You would think YouTube knows that I'm an Invicta guy, right? And I'm a watch guy in general, but then I do like Invicta. I've uploaded tons of videos on Invicta. You would think even when I search for Invicta, it would like recommend videos about Invicta. And most of the time they are about Invicta, but they're usually somebody bashing the brand. You have to kind of be a little detective and hunt for videos like this. Jay Steele, he said, I'm happy you got me into the Invicta brand. Well, you are most welcome. Angry Bus Driver, I started to know some of these YouTubers that used to be pro Invicta now dump the brand. Yeah, man, there's a couple. I'm not going to name their names because you probably know who they are. And I don't know. I don't really watch any Invicta reviews for the most part, not many watch reviews on someone to buy a watch, but there's one dude who he's starting to get into like other brands. There's nothing wrong with that, but I saw in one of his videos, he went to like a watch store, I don't know, some kind of party or something like that. It was at some store. And he was like interviewing some people. He's like, yeah, I'm an Invicta. I was an Invicta fanboy or something like that. And it's like, dude, you can just kind of see the transition, you know, into other brands. And I feel like YouTube kind of does that to influencers. They start to see that the real money in making a channel is really going to be around the luxury brands. It just is. And Rolex, you put up a video about Rolex, it'll get more views than if you put up a video about Invicta. It's just whether I agree or not, that's the way it is. And I see a lot of guys kind of moving towards that direction. A lot of them don't have the balls to come out and dump on the brand. And there's even some other scumbags who like all watches, but if in their heart, they really would like to dump on the brand, but they don't because they actually have buddies and other YouTubers who are into the brand. So they won't go that far yet, but I'm sure there will be a point at which they start to dump on the brand. But yeah, it's unfortunate because if you're being honest about these watches, whether of course, this isn't for everybody, right? They're big, they're huge, they're gaudy. It's just not for everybody. Ultimately, the quality is there, though. I can compare this to any watch in my collection. There's always going to be little differences, sure, but you really can't. I picked up a $12,000 Panerai the other day, and the Panerai had nothing on these watches. Not saying the Panerai is not as good or vice versa. They're just both really nice brands. Sure, the Panerai probably has more attention to detail in the movement, but at the end of the day, they all tell time reasonably well. So you really just got to buy a watch that you like the way it looks, like the way it feels, like the way you feel when wearing it. That's the most important thing. Quality's there. I mean, we're not living in the 80s anymore where you had to go Swiss made to get quality. That there was a time where that was true. It's not anymore. Angry Bus Driver. Don Mega. What up, man? He's like, I like the gold and silver one better. These two are both gold and silver. He just says, I want one. Variety. Jay Steele said variety is nice. And Angry Bus Driver Invicta was never a fad for me. I love the brand, buying since 2011. Yeah, man. There's always going to be Invicta. I'll just give you guys, let me go get a couple more watches. Sit tight. Shit, I might have to go to the other safe here. This is why people are like, why don't you do a state of the collection? It's like, dude, I'd be here for 8 hours. I mean, even this, I know it's going to go on longer than I want it to, but I just wanted to put up another Invicta video. It's like you guys know if you've been watching me, I got the new camera. And so it really, we're not in 4K right now. When I upload a video, it's in 4K. But in this, we're just doing 720. And even in 720, it's a night and day difference. The camera can actually focus in. So that's what makes me want to come back to Invictus, because they didn't get the fair video reviews they deserved, unfortunately. Grainy, classic Phatkat collection out of focus. I don't know how the hell my channel got to 25,000 subscribers with that kind of content, but we're improving. All right, so let me hit you with. All right, this one's badass. This I only paid like $200 for. This is, again, the watch, the model that started it all for me with Invicta, the Venom. I remember looking at the Venom, and I was like, I had bought a diesel watch, and I used to see it in like one of the brick and mortar stores. I was like, dude, that thing like is so big. I gotta have that watch, and I did end up getting it. It was more than I wanted to pay for a watch at that time. Now it's like not really a big deal. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I've kind of changed a little bit of what I'll spend on the watch if I really like it. But I ended up paying about $3 something for the all stainless Venom. And I just remember looking online and looking at the shopping networks and like looking at the description, and it said like 22 millimeter thick. And I was like, that can't be right. I was like, that's like almost an inch thick. And I just was so excited when I got it. The Venom, if you don't have a Venom, you owe it to yourself to get one. It is really a spectacular watch. I feel like the Venom is one of those watches that really kind of put Invicta on the map. Big. I mean, they're all big, right? They're all bold. But this one here I got after several years after I had the original Venom in stainless steel. This is all mirror polish, as you can see. Gold, a little bit of rose gold in the bezel. It may not be coming through on the video. Yeah, kind of. But I actually ended up getting one in the two-tone. It had rose gold links going down the center. And that video still does really well. It's like Invicta Store's Nightmare. I think they actually, I don't know if they changed the name because of my video, but they changed to a different eBay seller. Because that video got hundreds of thousands of views, I think. And it was just, I got it defective, and I asked the seller, I was like, dude, it's got to be perfect, and it had a defect in the way the bracelet was attached, and there was no fixing it. I did get my money back, but it was the only one I could find in that color combination. So years later, this came out, and I wanted the two-tone, and so I settled on this. I think I do have a couple links I could put in there, but it's not that big a deal. The two-tone is just awesome. Gold and yellow gold, It's not as noticeable on this watch because you don't have it down the bracelet, but it's a badass watch. I do have this color combination in the Grand Octane as well. Whoops, where'd it go? Grand Octane as well. Again, one of my favorite pieces. Let's see here. Don Omega said, or George said, you got a Grand Diver coming. Very cool. Don just said your collection is fire. Thank you, sir. George said big men need big watches. Small watches look like micro on me. Yeah, it's subjective, man. I mean, it just there's lots of big dudes who wear small watches and like that. It's just what you like. And Jay Steele just said it is awesome. Yeah, man, it is pretty awesome. And even mirror polishing. You're always gonna scratch mirror polishing more than more than like brushed or matte finish. But even after all these years, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, at all. I mean, maybe I'm just careful with my watches, but it's pretty badass. All right, so another Sea Hunter here. This is the one I was telling you guys about with that white. I don't know if it's silicone or rubber on this, but very cool. This is a limited edition Jason Taylor edition, which means absolutely nothing. I'm not a football guy and football fan, so I don't really care. But when they do a Jason Taylor collaboration, they, it's a specific color. So this color is only available in this particular watch. I'm more of a bracelet guy, but, when I got this, I saw it. I was like, ooh, it's so, the white is pretty cool. I didn't have a lot of white strap watches, so I picked this up. Very cool. I actually thought about selling this, but I just don't. I know I'll regret it if I do. It's very summery. This kind of feels like a nautical watch, with the blue and white. I don't know, just where my mind goes with it. I forgot to show you guys the Sea Hunters. They do have this exhibition window on. I think all of them with that furnace blue, the propeller. I mean, it's just so badass. Very cool. Look at that. I mean, just very innovative. I wish Invicta did more. I don't want to see an exhibition window. And I say this, I'm not like trying to be like, oh, it pisses me off. Like, I don't like, I'll buy a watch no matter what. If I like it, I'll buy it, right? But I do think Invicta, I think they should do more exhibition windows. If they're like this, if they're going to be on quartz, do something decorative like that. I think it's pretty cool, Costs a little bit more, charge a little bit more, but it is really cool when you pop the watch off the wrist and look at it. I definitely dig that. It would be really cool to have like a rotor that turned. That would be awesome. But hey, this is just quartz, so it looks awesome. Because what else are you gonna look at? Like an exhibition window on a quartz watch is like you see the movement. There's not really much to look at. I really like what they did here. Look at that. The battery still works. I always pull the crown to the number 2 position on Ronda movements. It'll save you 70% of the power. All right, another Grand Octane. Got the silver and black. This was a gift from one of my ex-girlfriends. She was pretty generous for Christmas one year. She got me this. She couldn't decide between this one and the Aragon with the black spinel and abalone. Really sweet of her. She got me this. And I think a bottle of Sauvage. Yeah, that part was good. Yeah, very generous. I don't wear this very much. Nothing to do with I'd have no hard feelings with any of that past stuff, right? But I don't know, the black and silver. When you have so many watches, it's just some just don't get worn. But when I see it, I'm like, ooh, I kind of make a habit of trying to look at the watch I have and figure out what I haven't worn for a while. Again, not like putting a lot of time into it. I ain't got time to sit there and stare at the safe and be like, oh, which one needs some wrist time today? Let me consult my graph. I just kind of grab whatever. But it is again, another great variation of the Grand Octane. Make some room here. All right, let me hit you with this one, dude. Bold on gold, man. Sea Hunter gold. I mean, there is, I don't know. When I think of all the watches on Earth and you want gold, this is the watch. I don't think there's anything bigger done in gold. Again, it is gold plated, but it's not real gold, right? But I mean, it is real gold coating. And you can tell, man, this is one of my Vegas watches back in the day. Wore this sucker at the pool. I mean, it's just huge. This watch, you throw this fucker on your wrist, it's just like you are just boom. I don't know how else to describe it. It's huge, and it's just so much gold on it. It's the gaudiest fucking watch I've ever seen. I absolutely love it. Battery's dead on this too. But this one does have the screw-down crown and function pushers. Exhibition window on the back. I mean, you can just tell, man. Look at that. I mean, people are like, oh, gold's going to flake off. Turn your wrist yellow. Like, not an Invicta. It's not. Pretty friggin' sweet. All right, another badass watch. This one here is the Venom Hybrid. Now, I used to have a Venom 2, they called it, and all it was the original Venom watch, just like this, and they did this bezel on it. And I had it done in a blue face, I think with the yellow gold bezel, all stainless. It didn't have the case and cradle. I will kind of touch on this here, but it is the Venom 2. So this bezel is from a Venom 2. Now, unfortunately, it's not a big deal, but Invicta does call this they start calling it the Fusion, but the original name was the Venom Hybrid. And I think it was kind of misnamed because the only thing on this watch that is a Venom is the bezel, and it's a Venom 2. This watch really should have been called the Subaqua Specialty Hybrid because most of the watch is the Subaqua Specialty. The case and cradle design, the bracelet. The only thing that is different is, of course, the bezel from the Venom 2 and the crown and function pushers from the Subaqua Noma 5. It is a badass piece. I don't know if you guys are rock and roll dudes, but Mandy Lion, he used to play with I think he played with Black Sabbath at one point. We kind of keep in contact. I met him through my YouTube channel actually, and he ended up buying one of these back in the day. He's the same dude who I mentioned sometimes. He has a $600,000. I think it's a Richard Mille, one of their limited edition pieces, and he has this one in silver. And he did overpay for this. He paid $1,000 for it right when it came out. But that's how it works sometimes. Sometimes you don't buy it, you're going to lose out on it. Sometimes you got to pay more to get what you want. But I ended up paying I think $250 for this. And I mean, it's incredible. I mean, he'll tell you like, dude, the quality, yeah, the RM's more refined, but it's not, it's not like it makes this watch feel like a piece of shit. And this is badass. I mean, it's such a cool looking watch. One of the best bezels I think Invicta's ever done. It's so aggressive and chiseled. Very, very cool. This has got the master calendar movement. Of all the Ronda movements, this one is my favorite. But again, they all work. They're all fine, but I do like this one the best. I like the dials, the different complications on it. It's very busy. It's a lot going on. Things moving and rotating. Very cool. All right, what time is it? We got a little time here. Let me. I'm going to show you guys some more here. Sit tight for a second. I got to go to my other room. I'll be back as fast as I can here. I'll let you guys look at this, stare at this for a second here. I think the worst part about doing these is having to put everything away when I'm done with the video. All right, man, I'm really hooking you boys up today. All right, I got some. Man, I'm actually really excited for you guys to see all these because you just don't see a lot of this on YouTube. It is time consuming doing all this, but I just really enjoy the brand, and I haven't. Like I said, I haven't really done a lot with Invicta lately, so we got to show you boys what's up. And remember, you find value in this, use my link, please, in the description. No matter where you buy, check in with me. I'd appreciate it. Oh, what up, Mr. Urban World? Just doing a little Invicta show and tell. All right, so what Invicta's always known for the big stuff, right? And I've showed you guys some big-ass watches today. But let me show you some of the other watches that I really appreciate as well. Sometimes I don't always want to wear a big watch, but I still want something unique. And so check this out. So I wanted the Gladiator for quite some time, but it's like, all right, chains, bells and whistles, right? It's a big flashy watch, cool, whatever. But I don't know. I got a lot of big flashy watches. So I wanted something that's going to be unique and small. And I got to tell you, Invicta really, I like the smaller stuff too. So this is a female's version. I said it first. I've been saying it for years. Invicta needs to rebrand a little bit, and they keep calling stuff like this female. And this just call unisex, or just call midsize, honestly. Because a lot of guys won't rock this, saying, oh, it's females. And they don't really think about it, right? There's nothing that makes this watch female. It's just smaller. And I forget, this is like, I don't know, 40-something, 42 maybe. Just kind of compare it to 63. We'll show you that in a second. But this is a badass piece. And again, you have that rose and yellow gold. Very cool. Very flashy. And this was like $109. And my mom and dad got me this for one of my birthdays. This year, no watch for my birthday. I'm doing a meat slicer. Need to start doing some beef jerky. So very cool. And I don't want them to spend a lot of money on me. You know, I have a lot. I don't really need another watch. You know, I got 8 more coming from Dartmouth. But hey, you know, it's a business. You know? So very cool. I mean, I love this. I won't be getting the full-size Gladiator. I just don't see the point when you have this one. There was one, though, I was eyeballing for a while, and I don't have a green and yellow gold watch. And they did have the Gladiator on sale. It was like $180. I just didn't pull the trigger on it. I should have, because green and gold, I'm not really a green guy, but the green and gold was so gaudy and it was just so money. I really wanted. I do regret not picking that up. But hey, you know, I got a Gladiator. It's badass. It's small, mid-size. I can still get something very unique and flashy without something huge on the wrist when I feel like wearing that, right? With that same theme, we got a Subaqua specialty. And this is, I think right now, this is my favorite Invicta model, Subaqua specialty. I love it. I love the case and cradle design. And you folks know, if you've been watching me for a while, I absolutely love Black Spinel. And this has got it, man. So this is a badass watch. Love it. Small, regular. I mean, when you look at a regular size watch, how cool is it to have something that actually has all the amazing features of these giant monstrosities just scaled down? And I think Invicta, I wish they did more stuff like this. And these are labeled female, and there's nothing female. This is just a mid-sized watch. They would do a lot better if they just made the big, beautiful watches like these and then made more mid-size. You can get like some of these watches in mid-size or in female, but there's not many. Jordan B just said Invicta watches do not last. Well, man, I got like 2 dozen here that says otherwise. So I'm not sure about your experience, but by all means, you might have had a bad experience. But I don't know, all mine or most of these are 10 to, I don't know, like say 3 to 12 years old, and they all last fine. So not sure, man. Not sure what to tell you. I can only give you guys my experience. Yeah, Mr. said I've had Invicta watches for over a decade. Absolutely. And that's kind of like the fake news. And Jordan, I'm not trying to diss you or insult you at all. You know, you expressing your opinion like that, I guess, is fine. But it's not really, it is just your opinion. No, man, see, you're just speaking out your ass. Earlier in the video, I wore these watches nonstop to work. So, you know, you just can't come in and just drop a bunch of nonsense. Like, nobody here is going to buy that shit. Maybe you had, yeah, Citizen, get the fuck out of here. Dude, I got Citizen. It's okay. It's not nicer than these. But that's cool. If you like Citizen, that's fine. But don't make, that's your opinion. You don't, it doesn't make it fact because you say it. I don't know how many watches you have in your collection. I got 450, you know. So of 450 watches, I have a pretty good idea of what you get for your money. And of all the watches I have, I've had very, very few actually have any problems. So not sure what you're doing. You might have just had bad luck, and that happens, absolutely. But to label a brand across the board, there's Rolex watches that have had factory defects and failed too. So, you know, you can't really, I think the more of a proper adult way is just saying, hey, I personally have had bad luck, but not to overgeneralize the whole brand, which is unfortunately part of the problem we have, not just in the watch community, but, you know, like in general with everything. People just pump out their opinions as their fact, and they don't specify, hey, you know what? I've had bad luck. I wouldn't buy another one. I like Citizen more. But, you know, to just state none of these watches last, that's not true, because all mine still work. So how do you explain why all my Invicta watches still work perfectly and and yours didn't. You know, how do you explain that? Like if what you were saying was fact, all mine would be broken too. So this should be common sense, but unfortunately, in the day and age we live, it's just not with people. But yeah, getting back to this, love this watch. Again, these ones are quartz. Love the smoky black mother of pearl face. All right, let me just catch up on the comments here. We got Jordan wants. I don't want to make this whole back and forth with Jordan, but I do want to respond to it again. Let's see here. All right, so Don Mega said, I've had mine over 2 years. Jordan said best watch, non-citizen. Bar none citizen. Yeah, I don't think citizen's bad at all. Like they're fine watches, but I think you pay a lot more. I think there's other brands out there that are much better. And not to say like if you pick up like the Citizen watch I have and you compare it to the, I don't know, like an Aragon or a Bulova, I don't really think one is better. Citizen does have some pretty cool technology, like with the solar, solar charging, and I mean that's very cool. But I don't, Citizen to me doesn't really produce anything that wows me, that has the look that really is unique. They just look like normal watches. Their Blue Angels watch is pretty cool though. But man, $700, like you can buy 7 of these. And so I don't know, you've had bad luck, but I haven't. So let's see here. Mr. 112 just said, sorry, Don said, hang on a second. Sorry, guys. I don't want to disrespect you, Jordan. We're going to get a little back and forth in here, I see. Yeah, Mr. said you're speaking out your ass. I completely agree. But that is Jordan's experience there. So it's not like he is giving his experience, which is nothing wrong with that. Like, so it's not really, he's not really speaking out his ass. He's just overgeneralizing. I mean, he's had bad luck, and that, that's okay. But maybe one day he'll give the brand another try, maybe not. But it doesn't really matter, because folks who have had good luck with Invictas, like myself, will continue to buy them, like most of you folks, like most people. Invicta wouldn't sell as many watches as they do if they constantly broke. That's just, the company would go under. But although their stores did. All right. He said, yeah, looks lasting timekeeping Citizen period. Yeah, stay with Citizen if you like Citizen. Molly said, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on these before they disappear. I got to scroll up. Molly said, people have various experience with Invicta. My Pro Diver 8926, the 8926, the only one people buy who've never bought Invicta, has been with me throughout my military career. Exercises, never had an issue. Yeah, perfect example right there. 10 years, beating the hell out of it. Mr. said, Invicta has incredibly predatory selling and marketing tactics. I don't think they're predatory. I think they're just stupid, honestly. I think Invicta with their marketing, people are not dumb, right? And they don't have to do the whole, like, this is like this one here. This one here came with an MSRP sticker on it of $5,000. I mean, like, it's just ridiculous. That's not what they sell for. So just put realistic prices on them. And I think that definitely hurts the brand for sure. Had most brands, including Invicta, not good. Most brands, including Invicta, not good. Yeah, again, Jordan, we get you've had bad luck, but that doesn't, how do you explain why I've had great luck in all these people in this chat? So that's your experience, only your experience. Batteries die fast, and automatic is terrible for accuracy. That, again, now you're just speaking out your ass, because the automatics that Invicta uses are usually NH35s, which is in thousands of micro-brand watches. And across the board, most people, even the snobs in the watch community, will tell you the NH35 is fantastic. Any NH series is great. So this is totally out your ass. Batteries die fast. Maybe you had the chronograph activated. My batteries, some of these are 7 years old, still working. Pull the crown to the number 2 position, you got to save 70%. But if you are foolish or you don't know any better, and you have like this chronograph here, you have this large secondhand ticking, you have activated the chronograph. That's not how you normally wear one of these watches. You're supposed to have it like I have it. Chronograph is off. Main secondhand is stationary. You have a secondhand subdial. That's how you're supposed to have the watch running. So you probably had the chronograph activated, and that's why your battery died. Citizens 2, they're overpriced. Oh, hang on. Molly said, the huge ones are not for me, but to each your own. To say Invicta is trash is nonsense. I have many watches in my collection, including Rolex and Omega. There you go, man. I love it when Omega and Rolex owners get in here and tell you the contrary, right? They're being real about it. Jordan said they're overpriced. I don't know what planet this fucker's living on. Invicta watches are one of the most affordable watches like on the planet. This dude must be living under a rock or mom's basement. Most of them don't even have sapphire glass. All right, so sapphire glass, I've touched on this many times. There's a video on YouTube where they demonstrate the scratch-resistant properties of different crystals with using a scratch kit. Absolutely, sapphire is the most scratch-resistant, but Flame Fusion was a close second. K1 Cristerna. The watch snobs, or the watch, I don't want to say idiots, but they think like you have to have sapphire to have scratch resistance. It's just not true. Most crystals are super scratch resistant. You have to physically try to do it on purpose to scratch most watches. The idea that you need sapphire is delusional. You don't. I mean, look at all these. You see, there's no scratches in any of them. All right, so whoops, I gotta scroll up a little bit here. Molly just said, I got my Pro Diver for $60. I don't know how many watches that provide a Seiko movement and 200 meters water resistant from that price. Absolutely. Hands down, one of the best values out there. Mr. 112 just said, I'm not saying that you said you don't want to disrespect him. Oh, they immediately said he was speaking out of his ass. Sort of the opposite of what, yeah, sorry, man. Maybe I'm misreading that. Jordan said Citizen is plain Jane. I don't know. I think the Citizen, like their is it Navitimer? Not the Navitimer. Like their Blue Angels. Maybe it is Navitimer. It's pretty nice looking. They're not like this. These are, I don't think because these look this way that a Citizen's plain Jane. I think that's just more of a normal type of watch. These are excessively gaudy, right? Excessively unique. And I'm saying that as a compliment. Angry Buster said exactly. Don Mega, he's just agreeing with Don. And I'm reading this out because some folks are just listening, not looking at the chat. So Larry just said, welcome, Larry. He said, I'm an Invicta guy all the way, Invicta man all the way. I'll be going all automatic because I'm tired of buying batteries. Yep, that's usually why I like automatic too. Oh, an EcoDrive never needs a battery. Yeah, cool, man. Neither does an automatic watch, an NH35. EcoDrive Citizen, everyone. This guy's nuts. Jay Steele said, same here, Larry, thinking of getting into the trade of doing the batteries myself. Yeah, you should, man. It's really easy to change out a battery. They're all good, just like an old Toyota or Honda. They get boring. I don't know, dude. Maybe you just are just a hater because I actually have a Toyota, Honda, Jag, a Dodge. And, if you take care of things, like my cars look awesome. They're almost as nice the day I got them. They last forever. Show me a Mercedes that's on the road as long as a Toyota. So, again, this is just nonsense talk. Makes no sense. And just frankly, a hater. Probably just living in mom's basement. Yeah, it's usually how guys like that act, Mr. said, I'll take Invicta over Bulova. Yep, I got a Bulova Precisionist and a Bulova Octava. They're nice watches, don't get me wrong, but they're no nicer than Invicta. Jordan said he had 3 seals fail on his Invicta diver watches. Yeah, I don't think he did. But maybe that is your experience. Not sure. None of my seals are failing. I did have one. It was a cross-threaded back. That does happen. Again, quality control on Invicta may not be as good as, say, a Rolex, but I don't know. Mine are great. Molly said I have 4 Citizen EcoDrives. They're good. I agree. JCPenney sells Ice Crisp Bulova watches 5 to 7. Yeah, I have the Octava. It's black Swarovski crystals. I only paid $220 for it. I got it for a steal. I like the black stones. But I know one guy, he messaged me today, said he paid $7. That watch is nowhere near as nice as these watches. It's a very inexpensive quartz watch, but you get that iced out look. Very cool. But yeah, I'll take Invicta over that, honestly, for quality. Jordan, dude, this guy is such a fucking liar. All right, so we're gonna let Jordan talk for a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna block him because we're not gonna let people just speak just bullshit. And everybody in this room knows this guy is just talking out his ass. He's just an Invicta hater, a clown, a little whiny bitch. So we're just gonna block him right now. See you, Jordan. Sorry, you're just a moron. All right, so he's gone, folks. We don't need that nonsense in here. Nothing wrong with having an opinion. Oh, damn, hang on. I gotta reread what he said here because I do want to reply to it. He said bracelets broke and glass scratch. That's a complete lie. It's so difficult to scratch. You can just go to YouTube. Don't take my word for it. Go to YouTube. Look for like scratch kit, right? Flame Fusion was like a close second to Sapphire. And, they were all good is my point. The fact that, dude, this guy just makes things up as he goes. Oops, hang on. All right, next comment was you can get a Chinese San Martin or same no name for way less. That's not true. You can't get a San Martin for less than $60 in a pro diver. I have all those Chinese brands too. Most of the watches are Chinese, whether it be Steel Dive, Tactical Frog, San Martin. I don't have San Martin, but San Martin's in the like $200 to $300 price range for most of them. So again, a guy who's not really informed at all. I don't know if we can see the other ones. Oh, we can't really beautifully. Molly, you're right. Yeah, Molly's right because she's agreeing that Citizen's nice. And Citizen is a nice watch, but they're not superior to Invicta. Sorry, dude. Right out your ass. San Martin's nice, but San Martin to me, no different than Tactical Frog, Steel Dive. What else? Addie's Dive. I'm not going to pay twice the price for one. All right, let's see. Molly just said, let me get back to these here. Whoops. I want to continue to show you guys some watches here. I don't want to just talk here. Molly said about 15 years, no issues with battery cell and eco dries. Yeah, because eco dries, I believe, are solar power, but don't quote me on that. You're not going to get 15 years out of a standard battery on a watch unless you're pulling the crown or it's got, I believe, solar. But again, don't quote me 100% on that. Let me read Jordan's. I'm going on my experience in Invicta. I'll never buy another. Good. Don't buy another. Everybody in here, but there's nothing wrong with not having a good experience in Invicta, as I mentioned many times. If you don't like Invicta, you don't have to buy Invicta. There's so many other amazing brands, but they'll arbitrarily just come in and be like, oh, this happens, the bracelets break. That argument does not hold water because how do you explain why all mine are great? And these are just a few of mine. So, I have probably one of the biggest collection of watches on anybody reviewing on YouTube. So I have a good idea. I'm not bragging about that. I'm telling you folks so that I have a pretty good idea of what you get for your money across brands. And most things out there are fantastic. And just to have a bad experience, the adult way to respond, the adult way to articulate your experience, say, hey, I've had a bad experience. This is what happened on mine. But he's just coming in just bashing the brand. If he scratched at a crystal, broke a bracelet, had batteries fail super quick, you're either like, I don't know what you're doing with the watch. Maybe you're bashing it on the ground. Maybe you're crawling under a car, scratching the shit out of it. Maybe you're purposely trying to destroy it. Not sure, but most people I talk to have never expressed those kinds of stories. So either he's got the worst luck of any Invicta owner or he's just full of shit. 3 strikes, no more. Yeah, great. I mean, stick with Citizen, absolutely. But, I mean, what you're saying is not fact. Citizens do not break. Okay, sure. All right, so back to the normal world here. All right, Molly, sorry. Molly said the Bulova sweeping movements are super nice. I think underrated and overlooked by collectors. Yeah, I totally dig my Bulova. What I like about the Bulova Precisionist is when you activate the chronograph, the large second hand swings around and starts ticking away and activating. Actually, let me strike what I just said. When you activate the chronograph, the second hand starts tracking time. When you reset it and turn off the chronograph, that second hand jumps to where it was before you started the chronograph and then starts tracking seconds as far as standard time. So very cool. The Invictas don't do that. So any of the Invicta watches that have the Ronda movements, your second hand's not supposed to be moving. So in case you folks don't know that, it only moves when you activate the chronograph. If you have it moving, your chronograph is active and you're going to kill your battery in 6 months to a year. All right, let's see here. Molly said, Jordan, that's not true. Even my Rolex and Omega needs gasket replacements. Likewise, thank you, Molly, for being the voice of reason here. And all you folks are, absolutely. Likewise, Citizen and Invicta all need servicing at one point. Yeah, that's the thing. When you pay $1,000 for a watch, you're probably going to go through that process of getting that stuff replaced because you do want to hold on to the value. For me, I'm never going to have my watches serviced. If they fail, they fail. They're meant to be worn. They're meant to be enjoyed. And I have watches that are 20 plus years old and not even Invictas, just cheapy $10 watches. And I'll pull the case back off them and the gasket's still intact. So again, good and bad luck. It's not written in granite that you have to replace gaskets, but it can have. You're exactly right, though. It can happen to all watches. Let's see. Mr. is laughing. Angry Buster says 67 of my Invictas work just fine. Absolutely. Mr. said San Martin is definitely nicer than Tactical Frog or Steel Dive, plus a lot of original designs. If that matters to you, yeah, it does matter to me. But I've just never seen anything I'm willing to spend the money on with San Martin. And for my personal taste, for the way that I can guarantee you I'll pick up a San Martin and put it next to a Invicta or a Tactical Frog, and I probably won't be able to see a difference that makes me rationalize spending twice as much for it. So, and because I have, you know, $1,000 what's it called? Aqua Dive, $1,000 Vista Dive watch, plenty $1,000, you know, $800 to $1,000 Ocean Eva watches. And at the end of the day, they're beautiful watches. Don't get me wrong, but I picked up my $1,000 Ocean Eva or Aqua Dive. It does not make this inferior quality. It's, you know, I probably trust it more if I had, like, if my life depended upon telling time, but at the end of the day, I would not be able to see a difference there. Let's see here. Brian said just bought Invicta Subaqua limited edition. Ooh, very cool. Yes, Mr. met me back in the Jacob and Company iced out watch days. Long time, 20 plus years. Pretty incredible. Brian said about 30 minutes ago, May 4th, Invicta. Absolutely, man. I look forward to you getting it. Yeah. Adrian said, never had a bracelet break on any of my watches. Absolutely. The only time I've had a bracelet fail is, well, I'm calling it a bracelet, is just a rubber strap. I've had a Sterling watch disintegrate in the case. I'm wearing in a Nubeo right now. I hope that these proprietary strap watches don't fail. You know, it would be disappointing if 10 years down the road, this thing just crumbled and then you're stuck with a watch you can't wear. So that's what I always like about bracelet. You don't ever have to worry about that. If I wanted to break this right now, I would have to exert an insane amount of force. In one of my videos, I did a review about the force it takes to even to stretch metal. I think it was over 3,000 pounds. Like, you're not going to put that kind of force on this. It would be very difficult to break this, any bracelet for that matter. So just nonsense. All right, so let me hit you with, ooh, this one's a flashy one. Man, check that out. So another Venom Hybrid, done in the two-tone yellow gold and rose tone. I got a killer deal on this. I think it was like $180 on Invicta stores. Had to have it. This watch, I remember when it first came out, was selling for about $700, and it was selling all day long for $700. Then it became discontinued, and they stopped making it, and they brought it back, and I got it for that price. Very cool. Gaudy as gaudy as possible. I mean, very cool. All mirror polished. Pretty sick. All right, another awesome favorite for me, another Subaqua specialty, done with the black spinel, all black on black, kind of that nice kind of cloudy day, rainstorm, I call it, mother of pearl. I wish they wouldn't have done the lattice work on this. It's not even a gripe, but I would like to have seen just a nice big piece of mother of pearl in that black smoky finish with just an NH35. This is a Ronda. I think this one is, yeah, Swiss movement as well. Meaningless. It is a Jason Taylor edition. Absolutely love this watch. I overpaid for this one. I think I paid like $480 for this, and I'm glad I did, because this one here, once it was gone, it was gone. And I have a real like for black spinel or black diamonds. These are spinel to gemstone, very similar to black diamond. Anybody who says you can tell the difference by looking at it is full of shit. You can't. Very flashy, fun watch. Isn't that badass? So cool. 1112 said, have you checked out the new Mech X linear watch? I have not. I will check it out, though. Molly said it has a glide lock style clasp, allowing the fly adjustment. Not sure which one you mean. Molly said $20 cheap upgrade. Oh, they must be on the Mech. Sorry, Mech X. Weird name. And then 1112 said, what's your favorite YouTuber? One of your favorite YouTuber time tellers just reviewed one. It's actually really cool. Is that did he review the Mech X? I'm not sure even how you say that. I'm going to Google it real quick here so I can see it with you guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get around my keyboard here. Mech X MS 1000. Let's see what it looks like. I don't even. Oops, I typed it in wrong. Of course I did. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, it's super unique. Very unique. Let's see. Let me just look at a couple more pictures here. Oh yeah, that's pretty different. Yeah, and the price is good too. $2.99. That's pretty cool. I'll have to reach out to them, see if they send me a sample. You never know. Very cool. Kind of reminds me of some of like the ones Nubeo is doing. Some of their just very interesting kind of. I'll grab one real quick here. I got one just sitting here. Not quite as elaborate as the one that you guys are talking about, but very cool. Just the way that, I don't even know how to describe this, but the way that it tells time, just really outside the box. Very cool. Smaller watch, of course, but still badass. I always, like I said in other times, it's nice to have a watch that's small, but then very unique to look at. And that one definitely checks those boxes. I will reach out to them. What else we got here? All right. So this is Mr. Urban. You're going to recognize this. So this is inspired by, or I call this a homage. This is what I call a watch that truly represents what a homage means. This, to me, and they don't mention this is not like listed anywhere. The way I look at this is paying tribute to Jacob and Company. So Jacob and Company is one of the first companies that did a 5 time zone watch, which is what this has. They're known for doing kind of like the circle, triangle, or in this case, just squares around those different time zone. They used to do them with red, yellow, blue, very colorful. But this is definitely a homage, but I like it way more. I also like that they took the case from the AP? It's the AP Nautilus. Kind of copied that case. Similar shape. This one is massive. And what I like about this is that this watch, if we compare it to the Sea Hunter, is actually, it looks bigger. And it's just because they have a thinner bezel on it and more face, where this has more steel. But they are identical size watches, I think. Maybe one is a little bit bigger. Yeah, so the 5 time zone is a tad bit bigger. But I love this watch. It's one of my favorite watches. It does have genuine diamonds around it, small diamond chips. Kind of a black mother of pearl in the center. I liked it so much I had to get the black one as well. So glad I got this. This is hands down one of my favorite Invictas. I love this watch. It's big. It's bold. It's not like, I don't know, just something about it. I almost like it more than the Grand Octane, which was always my favorite. But, and you guys know, I'm going to go back and forth like a little kid. I just, all these watches are so cool. I jump around. I'm like, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. It's really hard to choose a favorite, but I love this watch. Very cool. Good luck getting it. You can't find these. I mean, you may find one on eBay, but it is just a badass watch. I kind of regret not getting it in silver stainless as well with like some blue accents, but definitely a watch I think Invicta should bring back. I think, honestly, of all the watches I've had in my hands by Invicta, it is the largest. It doesn't have the thickness that the Sea Hunter has, but it's just huge diameter, and just I love that fact the bezel's not too thick. You just have a lot of face. Iconic. I mean, it just looks like a Jacob and Company. But honestly, I like it more in Jacob and Company. They did it better. All right, another badass watch. Look at this. Grand Octane mirror polished black plating with that abalone. This was also a gift from that same girlfriend. Super generous. I mean, very nice, very thoughtful. Badass watch, man. That abalone. This is what I mean about abalone when they do a very like when we compare it to this one here. That lattice work, you kind of lose the look of the mother of pearl on that. Whereas this, they just kept it big, open, a little bit of complications there in the dial, but nothing cluttering it up. You want to see that abalone. This is a badass watch. This one's hard to get too. And what I like about this, and I've said it many times, with a black watch, you need something that's going to kind of make it pop, right? Otherwise, it just looks like a G-Shock. This is, it has the size going for it. It has what I call like these hex pillars, and then you have that beautiful not mother pearl, the abalone. Super badass. I mean, love it. And when we compare it to like this with abalone, having all the other, gingerbread on the dial, you just kind of lose it. I like that they kept it simple here, and you really can see the abalone, which is really beautiful. And again, black, look at the back, exhibition window with a little abalone, very cool. And this one here, I mean, look at it. Like hardly, I mean, you see everything on a black mirror polished watch. Held up extremely well. Let me catch up on the comments here. Mechanical exploration. Brian said, "Fat is my go-to for watches because of the unbiased reporting." Absolutely, man. You know, some people they say that you can't do a watch review and be an affiliate or a partner with a company and be honest. And I don't agree with that at all. You can definitely be honest because all these companies deserve you to be honest. I've had issues with I've had a Nubeo come to me that was defective, and I said, "Hey, this is defective. Send it back. Send me another one." And things are going to happen. These are not, and this can happen even with luxury brands, absolutely. But of course, with stuff that's mass produced, you like there's not a product on earth that isn't mass produced that you're going to have issues pop up. But overall, I've been very happy with every brand of watch that I have, and it just goes to show you that modern machining is really good. And I do try to give you guys, I give every watch a fair shake, and generally, very rarely do I pick up a watch where I say, this is terrible. Because there really isn't anything out there that's really terrible. If you get a $20 watch, it's gonna be a noticeable difference in quality. I mentioned this the other day too. Like here's one, the Watchstar watch. I absolutely love this piece. Very unique. Got white topaz. Look at this. The whole top portion came off. And this wasn't even like screwed on or anything. Like there's holes there, but that's just like to line it up. Now this is glued on, and my boy James Perez, he is a watch repair guy, and he told me to use. I have to reach out to him again, but there is a type of glue you put on here to glue it back down, and it happens. And once I glue it back down, it'll be good to go. But like I said, it can happen with any brand, and fortunately, it really hasn't happened with Invicta, other than that one silver Zeus bolt with the hand that popped off. So it does happen. All right, what else we got here? Mr. said there's a titanium one coming soon. You mean on here, or you mean you got one coming? Mr. said this definitely pays homage to Jacob, and that's the proper use of a homage. That when we have a Rolex copy, right? Everybody makes them, right? They call them homages. They're not homages. They're direct copies. They just have their own brand name on them, right? Those are copies. They're not. There's nothing on them that is unique to that particular watch. I'm not knocking them. I have many. I wear them. They're great. But this, it does pay tribute to Jacob, but it doesn't look like a Jacob. It pays tribute in the time zones, the way they did the time zone, but it's its own thing. This is a true representation of the word homage. All right, what else we got here? Mr. said, Brian just said Jacob did some time back in the day. I thought I heard something about that. Yeah, but he's killing it. His watches are super unique, super expensive too. Mr. said, as an Invicta guy, you are familiar with Jim Skelton. He used to sell Invicta on Shop NBC, but has done YouTube for the last 10 years. I think if I saw him, yeah, I think so. But it's funny, if he's done it for 10 years, you go search Invicta watch review on YouTube, he don't pop up. And there's a guy you think for us Invicta dudes who want to watch the watches, you think they would pop up. And that's why a lot of people watch like the Shop HQ, and they're not going to have Invicta on there anymore, I guess. But it's kind of nice, people, I'm not really into the community as much as some of the other dudes. I kind of come back to the brand. I like the brand. I wear them, but I don't get into the whole like Invicta family because I have a family, and unfortunately, as much as I like talking with you guys are not my family. You guys are my online subscribers, and I don't toss words like love, friendship, family around loosely. No disrespect, but I mean, again, acquaintances are awesome. Really glad all you guys popped in here. Love sharing this stuff. Love the brand, but I don't get involved in all that craziness. I'm not trying to make friends and, long distance friends with going to the cruise and all that stuff. But hey, more power to you if you like that stuff. Nothing wrong with it. But I do think though, it does. I used to watch Shop HQ too, because it's kind of cool to watch the watches. I'd pop in on the chat once in a while. And people be like, "Oh, what's up, Phatkat?" And kind of helps to grow the channel. But it's just too bad that you really have to kind of hunt for a specific YouTuber, but is what it is. Maybe that'll change. Who knows? But let's see here. Molly just said, question for you. How long have you been collecting watches, and what is your favorite brand? I'm guessing Invicta. No, Molly, I don't, I've been collecting watches probably I've always worn watches. My first watch was, one that I actually bought myself was an Elgin from Walmart back in I don't know, 98. And I liked it so much I got the gold one, smaller. Then I discovered the Jacob & Company stuff. So we're going well over 20 years, but I started to really kind of get obsessive about it probably back in 2010, 2011. That's kind of where I kind of got into them. As far as a favorite brand, I really don't. Invicta's not really my favorite brand. I don't really have a favorite brand. I just really appreciate all brands, and I get a lot of enjoyment like collecting all different watches and wearing them, and just being able to, I don't know, just being able to accessorize how I feel like, and it's like anything else, I got a lot of cologne too, and it's just I don't really have a favorite of anything. I guess this is my personality. I am very obsessive. When it comes to cars, I got 4 cars, and I would like to get a 5th and a 6th. So I'm just out of space. But yeah, it's really hard. I love the Invicta brand for what they are, and I wear all my watches. So hope I tried to answer that. But no, Invicta is not really my favorite brand. I like them all. Let's see here. Brian said, do you know how to find when special watches are going to be released from Invicta? No, Invicta unfortunately does not really, I don't know, man. I feel like I've referred, I'm not going to hit you with the exact numbers, but I referred a lot of business to Invicta stores over the years and a lot to Shop HQ. And ultimately, at the end of the day, once you have a brand that kind of sells itself, like these watches do for the most part, they don't really care about the influencer anymore. And so now Invicta still has their affiliate program, which is great. I hope they continue on doing that. But I feel like companies, it's all about the bottom line, and they kind of forget who got them where they're at. I'm not saying it's just me. Anybody who buys an Invicta, who likes it, collects it, you all do your part in helping a brand grow, no matter what brand that is. You have a good experience, something, you tell people about it, you show it off, especially in watch collecting. Anytime you collect something, there is a community part of it, And so I don't know. Aragon did the same thing. They used to send me watches to review, let me buy watches that cost. And then one day they said, yeah, we're not working with influencers anymore. And that's basically because they started to gain traction on their own. And so that's unfortunate to kind of forget. I'm not going to say where your bread is buttered, but to kind of forget about the people who helped get you there. But it is what it is. Brands make their own decisions. They do what they want to do. And, hey, no hard feelings. It's too bad. I like Aragon as well. I'd love to be able to share more on the channel, but that's life. Let's see here. So as far as like my point in that was like, I don't have any direct communication with Invicta. And I'd always hoped over the years that Invicta would reach out and be like, hey, we want to send you like new releases for you to drop on your channel. But, they I don't know. They don't really do that, So of all the other brands, like I work with Dartmouth, I got 8 more Dartmouth coming in the mail. Dartmouth is a fantastic company. They really, they see the value in like small kind of influencers like this. So it's great. All right, let's see here. George just said all watches are an engineering wonder. I completely agree, man. Every time I pick up a watch, I say, how do they make that for like $100? It is quite incredible, really. 1112 said he mostly focuses on high-end custom knives. Okay, the gym guy. Gotcha. Lewis just said, is the big watch era over? I don't think so, man. I still like them. I don't wear them as much as I did, absolutely, and mainly just because they kind of get in the way sometimes when I'm like working in the garage, or if I'm at work working. I generally don't, depending on the type of job you have. If you're doing something very physical, I don't want to damage my Invictas or really any watch. So I tend to wear ones that if I scratch up a little bit, I'm not as concerned. And ones that don't get in the way. But I've had positions in the past where you're not doing anything really physical, so I would wear them quite often. But I don't think so, man. There's always going to be a big watch I want to add to the collection. I think that's what's cool about affordable watches. You don't have to really pick one. You can just say, hey, you know what? I got a ton of Invictas. They're all huge, and I think I got enough big watches. Let me get a couple smaller Invicta watches. So it's nice that Invicta just needs to do more smaller watches too, because putting these amazing designs, having, a lot of people, I hear it all the time, are like, oh, I love Invicta, I love the designs, but way too big for me. My dad's one. He will never wear a watch this big. It's just not his style. But something like this, anybody can wear this. Whether you like you may not like the stones and all that stuff, but they should make them without. But it is what it is. Let's see. Sorry, Producer Michael. Yeah, Producer Michael's cool, man. I like Producer Michael. He's one of those guys with shit ton of money, and he's pretty reasonable when it comes to how he reviews watches. He did like an Amazon unboxing with like $40 watches. He was like, this is incredible. And so I'm sure the big luxury brands don't like it when he says things like that, because he was like talking about how great this $40 watch was and how nice it was. And he's being honest. So I like the guy. He's all right. Mr. said, I'm a jewelry fanatic in general. I don't think I'll ever stop. I try to wear the opposite of what is currently trending. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not a trendsetter by any means. I just wear what I like, and I just worry about what I like. I don't care if somebody else doesn't like what I'm wearing. Molly said, although these big watches aren't for me, I appreciate you speaking your mind. And then they were all in the same hobby, share the same passion. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any G-Shocks 1112, but do I have any Casio? I used to have a Casio twin graph from the 80s. It totally deteriorated. The rubber totally fell off. Cool watch. I wore it as a kid. Had a G-Shock that deteriorated. And I thought about getting a G-Shock over the years, but I just don't. I don't know. I guess I'll wear whatever I want. G-Shock is super durable, but I'm just not really too concerned with wearing my watches and damaging them. If it happens, it happens. But they're fantastic. Casio brand's awesome too. Molly said, snobs are all over the place. These people that would call my Submariner Pia shit with their Pateks. Absolutely. APs, whatever. Snobs are the rest pests, not Invicta lovers or whatever labels people want to put on others. Yeah, absolutely. There's always going to be, Rolex owners think they have something like unobtainable. And then when they wear it, they're like, and I'm not saying all. I'm not trying to overgeneralize. But there are Patek owners who will look at Rolex and be like, dude, that's a shitter watch. And just like Rolex tries to do it with Invicta. And I'm not saying the brand, I'm saying specific owners, right? And I just think that kind of stuff sells. Meanness sells. People like that. People who are miserable. People like to look at something and say, that's not for me. Or maybe they can't pull off wearing it. Maybe they just don't like it. I do think it's ridiculous. They just don't. I don't know. In person, nobody says anything. It's always online trolls. And I think, they're just online bullies. I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me. People do that, but that's the way it is. But I don't tolerate it. You bring it to me, I'll serve it right back. And if I feel like trying to articulate reason with a person they're not there for that, then they just get banned. They just get blocked. Because I'm not going to waste my time trying to argue or try to have a debate with somebody who really is just trying to put somebody else down. That's not how debates work. Brian said, I have a G-Shock from 92 and the band vanished into pieces. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the G-Shock I had, the twin graph, there's nothing left but metal case. So it happens. I don't know if maybe modern rubber is better. Maybe the G-Shocks of today will last a lifetime. I'm just not really sure. But, I don't know. Maybe pick one up someday. I got so many. It's hard for me to buy something. There was an Invicta I wanted to buy recently. It's done in like not the iridescent finish, but almost like a flame iridescent, like orange, yellow, and red. Very much smaller. It was kind of like a rectangular coffin style case. You pull up the face and flips around. I think to wind it or something like that. Very cool. Very cool. It's only $130. Like I kind of need to pull the trigger on it, and I know I'm going to regret it if I don't, but I don't know. I try not to spend too much money, especially when I'm getting watches all the time. It's just hard to rationalize it. So, all right. So here we have another. Let me kind of show you guys a few more before we close up shop. Blue Label edition. This one I have not worn too much. It's like brand new. Coalition Forces style. Coalition Forces on the Grand Octanes have that kind of T shape on the face. That's the only thing that makes it a Coalition, and the branding. Blue Label's pretty cool. Very blue. Blue and gold is a pretty cool color combination. I've often said Invicta should do a red label. Red and gold would be very cool. They haven't done that yet, but I think it would be awesome to do a combination of like blood red with like maybe red ruby, synthetic rubies. Be awesome. If you ever seen Invicta do it, you know where the idea came from. But this is cool. Like I said, does not get worn very much. Definitely not one of my favorite ones in my collection. You got to kind of be in the mood for something big and blue like this, but still awesome, still great to have in the collection. I'm going to try to read these while I'm showing you guys the watch. All mirror polishing. It's pretty badass. Molly said, I want to share my most recent purchase, used Fossil FSW 1003 for 150. In-house movement. Enamel dial. Snobs to say that the watch is a shitter because it doesn't have a luxury name on it. And Molly just said, love your passion for watches. I appreciate that. Yeah, watch snobs always shit on things that they don't like. That's why, like, in the watch community, and I say that in quotes, they're all about Rolex, but then an acceptable watch is a Seiko. It's just like they won't shit on the Seikos, but the Seiko doesn't give you any more quality, in my opinion, than any of these. All right, so look at this one. All iced out. This is, I believe this is still considered like a pro diver, actually. It's just a bigger pro diver, all iced out. Love this watch. Very cool. I barely wear this watch. I kind of forget about it. NH35 movement in it. Just iced to the max. Hang this fucker out the window in the summertime. Man, just be blinding people. Pretty badass. You know, they didn't do the iced out links all the way down, but that's all right. This is kind of smart they didn't, just because this is where you might bunk the watch a little bit. So it's, I don't know, a little more durable, but very cool watch. I honestly forget that I even have these things. I wish I did this in black with black stones, but these kind of came and went. They were pretty inexpensive. Yeah, I mean, you know, the watch snobs, I've never, in positions that I've had where I've dealt with thousands of people every day, I never had anybody be like, dude, that's stupid or that's ridiculous. Most people see a big watch, they're like, oh my God, that thing's crazy. You know, and they may not want to wear it, but people are usually pretty respectful in person. It's only those trolls, those what's the term Philion uses? Those what the hell does he say? He's another YouTube channel. It cracks me up. He the goblins, the basement goblins, just friggin' like they're just miserable people. Just those incels living in mom's basement, just fucking just can't stand to see anybody with cool shit. You know, they just like to, you know, just knock shit. I don't know. I can't overgeneralize too. There's some people who, you know, those YouTubers out there that we all can't stand. They're just pompous. There, it is what it is. Let's see here. Adrian just said, do it, Brian. Sellers on eBay a seller on eBay does a DW5600 CU steel case, bezel strap, Casio no longer make. I did it and absolutely transformed it. And then Molly said, H35, one of the most robust and reliable movements out there. You can't go wrong. Absolutely. I mean, you know, and I said before, like I have Values, I have NH35, 4s, 6s, whatever else they make. I have Seagulls. I have ETAs. I have Solitas, if I didn't mention that. And at the end of the day, they all tell time reasonably well. It's not like the NH35 is prone to not telling good time. It's not like when I wear an H35, I'm showing up to work late every day. You know, I joke about this, but I guess to me, what is the value in spending more money for a movement, a higher end movement, right? Because they all tell time reasonably well. So it can't be about accuracy when it comes to telling time. I feel like it's just really about when you like to collect watches, you just want variety. And when I have an H35 or I have a Solita, and I see a watch, I do get an element of pride knowing if I'm wearing an Oceaniva with a Solita, I have a higher tier movement. But it doesn't really give me any real world advantage. I felt like I'm getting better time. I felt like I'm, my productivity is going up. It doesn't really make any difference in the real world. So I just don't see the real point. If I had the choice between, let's say that they only made this watch here, right? This watch here, H35 or Solita, and I can get it for $200 in the H35 or $400, even $300 in the Solita, I would just choose the H35 because it tells time fine. There's really no reason to me to spend more. Now, a watch expert will probably tell you on why on a time grapher it's better, why there's better technology in it. But at the end of the day, is all that technology, does that extra price tag give you a watch that's so much more accurate that I can see if this NH35 is like, oh man, I'm late for work again. What am I going to do with this friggin' watch? I just can't seem to get things done on time. Like, I get it. Why I understand why you want to spend more, but that's just not the facts. It's just not the truth. So, but always buy what makes you happy. I like having all these different watches and movements, but for me, it's a little different because I didn't pay for, my Oceanivas. I didn't pay for my new Bayos. I didn't pay, the Invictas I did. I don't have any, never got a free Invicta ever. I did get one from James Prez. He bought me one. Thank you, James. But that's about it. And so, I mean, for me personally, I'm not going to spend extra money on a watch because it's got a Sellita. Now, if I didn't have a Sellita, maybe I'd eventually be like, hey, you know what? I just want one in my collection because I do collect. But I don't know. That's the only real reason. Yeah, so Molly just said my H35 works great. Never had given me issues. My ETA and Sellita have minor issues. The only, I don't know how many ETAs I have, but I have a few Sellitas. I have a few tourbillons. At the end of the day, it's just to have in your collection. AWOL, new one to the chat. He said Merle on Time Watch Reviews is a small growing channel. Seems like a super nice guy, and he's pretty passionate for Invictus. Might be worth checking him out. Yeah, man, I will check him out. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but definitely usually I'll watch YouTube if I need to like learn how to do something or if I'm going to buy something. And it's funny, you know, even I search for the term Invicta Watch Review all the time, and I've never seen that channel. So, you know, it's just too bad the way the algorithm works that it's just hard to find. It's hard to find the Invicta guys nowadays, you know? I don't know. It just kind of sucks. So even my channel, and I didn't even show you guys all the Invictas. Like I have more Invictas. But this is it for today. You know, I'll come back and do another one. I don't know, unless you guys have a request. I have a lot more Subaqua specialties with black spinel. I have one without black spinel. I have what I call the caviar edition with like an all glass bezel. It's one piece, but it looks like baguette stones on it. Very cool. And if you want, I can give it a little more time. It's up to you guys. I should put some of these away though, because I'm kind of running out of room here. Let me get you a few more. If you guys, I'll go a little bit longer here. Let me put some of these away here so I can make a little bit of room. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. I got a whole bunch for you folks. All right. So I did pull another brand here too, just because we were talking about it earlier. Here is the Bulova Precisionist. I mean, it's a great looking watch, hands down. Very cool. I love what Bulova did with the crystal on it. It's curved. I feel like the inspiration for I don't know. I feel like Invictas are so unique and over the top. I feel like Bulova stepped it up with this. I think my battery's dead too. Damn it. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, battery is dead. Dude, this battery lasted a long time. So this is one of the watches that I will put a new battery in. Recently they had the Grammy edition on sale, and they had I almost bought the yellow gold version. It was on sale for like $150. It was super cheap. But, you know, again, I just was like, I don't really need another watch. But this is a great piece. If you don't have a Precisionist, be on the hunt for one. You will be happy with them. Here's another Subaqua specialty done with the black spinel and abalone. Had to get this one. Very cool. Again, small black watch, subtle, but has that bling, has that abalone. Really cool piece. This one, and these were like $100. I mean, pretty incredible. Of course, I told you guys I had this one, Grand Octane, Grand Arsenal. This one's over 10 years old. Yellow gold and rose gold. Pretty badass. This one is just super loud. Love that color combination. Like that they did mirror polishing on the rose gold and then a brush finish on the yellow gold. This is kind of like these watches, some of these Invictas, when people are like, oh, you buy an Invicta and you lose money. It's like not necessarily. I mean, some of these watches, if I were to throw this on eBay, I could get what I paid for it. I mean, a lot of the Invictas I find is, because there's so many collectors, once most of us are never going to get rid of our watches, right? But sometimes if you have something that, you just don't wear, maybe it's mint and you're like, all right, I just don't really wear this. I'm going to get something else I'm going to wear more, get something new to the collection. You can usually throw these on eBay and get some money for them. They're not worthless by any means. Look at this one. All yellow gold, black smoky mother of pearl. Love the way they did the face on this. That's kind of what I was trying to the other one I had with the black one, how they have that skeletonized kind of addition to it. You lose the black mother of pearl. In this, I actually forgot I had this watch. And this was like super cheap. I think it was like $150. I mean, incredible. You get some scratches, mirror polish, you're going to get that. Then we got, again, another tribute, another homage to Jacob and Company done in the black. Black and gold. Can't go wrong there. And this one is a Shack edition as well. I forgot to mention that. The 2 5 time zone watches are Shack editions. Again, I could care less. Shack seems like a really nice guy. I don't buy a watch for I'm not a fan of anybody. So, but the fact is Shack, no big deal. No worries. But, if I buy the watch, I like the watch. Very cool. Now, here's another one that I overpaid on. I paid $450 for this one. This is the Zeus Bolt, all black. And again, going with that black theme, has to have something on it to make it pop. This one's got genuine diamonds. Small diamonds, but they are genuine diamonds around the bezel. We have diamonds on the indices on the inside. Pretty badass watch. This one here, easy sell this sucker on eBay. This one here you just can't get anymore. It did go on sale for like half of what I paid at one point, but now you just can't get it. So if you want to get this, you might find it. Look at that original battery too, still ticking away. I like that they did like this kind of these cogs on the what do you call those, complications? Very cool. Invicta is very innovative. They're always just doing stuff that's outside the box. Now, I don't know, I do find that a lot of their new stuff doesn't really call to me like these. Every now and then they come out with one, and I'm like, ooh, I need to get that. But, there hasn't been too much. I think the last time I really wanted another larger Invicta was the green and gold Hercules. And I really liked, more than that, I really liked the green and gold Helios. And I dropped the ball on that. I should have got it. But, hey, sorry, mister, I didn't see your question there. Yeah, the 2 Shack watches I got were these 2 right here. There we go. A couple Shack pieces. Yeah, man. Let's see here. Molly said, enjoyed spending a little bit of my Sunday evening with you guys. Till the next time. Yeah, thanks, Molly, for popping in. Appreciate the insight and the experience with your the watches you own. Mister said, got an Invicta Reserve automatic chronograph. I do not have any Invicta automatic chronographs. Generally, when you get involved in most of the Invicta watches, you see their chronograph are going to be your Rondas. When you start getting involved in automatic chronographs, most of the time there's not that, and don't quote me 100% on this, but there's not as many readily available automatic chronograph movements out there that are reasonable. And Valjoux 7750 is one of those automatic movements that's kind of, well known. You definitely pay a higher price tag for that. I have a couple 7750s, but not an Invictas. I think I have a couple Cadolas that are 7750s, maybe something else, but I don't. Yeah. And then Brian just said, I saw a nice Star Wars Invicta limited edition on eBay. It's very tempting today. Yeah, man. I don't do a lot of the, I don't do any of the Star Wars stuff. I like the movies. They're cool, but I'm not really into the whole superhero stuff. Again, we'll watch the movies. No disrespect. Movies are great. Star Wars is classic. But I'm not such a fan of really anything that makes me want to like brand myself with it. Other than like 80s bands, but that's like more t-shirts. Watches, hey, it says Shaq. If I had to choose between it saying Shaq or not, I'd rather it not say it. But it doesn't like it's not a problem for me whatsoever. Like it's not something I think about. But and same thing with like Jason Taylor's. Like it doesn't. It's not really. I don't really know why brands do that. To be honest with you, I get the Star Wars thing because people are big fans of the movies, Avengers, all that stuff. People are big fans, so you're kind of like combining hobbies. People and you're creating watch collectors, right? Sometimes it's like a gateway. Somebody might be not into watches and then suddenly see an Invicta that's like a Mickey Mouse. Be like, oh, I don't even like watches, but I love Mickey Mouse, and that might get them into a watch, and then they might become a collector of watches, right? So it's kind of cool that brands do that. I don't know if when it comes to like personalities, like maybe there are people who are huge Shaq fans and will say, yeah, I'm not really into watches, and then see a Shaq watch and maybe buy it. But I don't think it's quite the same as like Avengers or DC Comics or the Hulk or that kind of stuff. But he is a face and well known. And I feel like brands tend to sometimes collaborate with well known people. But I don't really know if collaborating. I understand. Like I guess if somebody has a really big following, like if you're a YouTube channel, let's just say you're Phatkat Collections, right, and you have 1 million subscribers. That opens up a lot of doors. And if you have 1 million subscribers, I probably would be approached by a watch company saying, hey, let's do a Phatkat Collection collaboration so they can get that watch on my channel, right? But that's never going to happen on this channel. And, if you are famous, then I guess that you kind of bring an element of a crowd. But I don't know, like I feel like Invicta already has a crowd. And so when Shaq is collaborated with Invicta, it's not like Shaq had like, I don't know, social media. Maybe he did mention it. I don't know. But I don't know. I just don't feel like having his name on it increased the sale of this watch any more than just the watch itself. But I could be totally wrong on that. So anyway. What the hell? I heard something. All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed this super long live stream. What the hell was that? Man, people with their fucking goddamn exhaust nowadays. Anyway, all right. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys popping in. We had probably the largest amount of people in the chat that we've ever had. It's kind of cool to do these like this. I feel like you get, I like to talk. And so a lot of times when I'm just talking, I tend to put the watch down and not really show it as much. And so this is a great way for me to kind of express my feelings about products and show them off in a light that you guys can really see the product. I feel like the video quality is a lot better than it's ever been. So I hope that, I hope that I brought some value here. If you do find value and you are Invicta collectors, by all means, if you can bookmark my link that is in the description, use it to make a purchase on Invicta stores. You can use it over and over again. Unfortunately, I don't have a coupon code, but it's a good way to give back to my time and efforts. If you don't want to and you're like, fuck you, fat cat, I guess I can't force you to use a link, but I would appreciate it if you did. Either way, just always come back to the chats and come back to the live streams. Next time, I think I'll do Aragon. Although I didn't hit every Invicta, by the time I actually do another one of these, I'll probably forget which Invicta watches I share with you folks. I do have quite a bit more. These are, I don't know. I honestly don't know which ones I have. But tons of Nubeo. We're going to do this with Nubeo, Spinnaker, all the different brands that I have in my collection. I have, these can go on longer if I have a specific brand that I have a lot. So I have a lot of Invictas. I have a lot of Aragons. I have a lot of Nubeo, Spinnaker. And then there's other brands, those, more AliExpress brands, Tactical Frog. We could do like a homage series. We'll do more of these. I think these definitely help people to get an idea of what these watches look like kind of close up and give you an idea of the quality. And so again, thank you everybody for popping in. Do subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and you guys have a fantastic evening and take care now.